Alright, we got a couple of Milwaukee M18 5 amp hour battery packs with the single flash, and usually when I get these in here, because they didn't know they weren't waterproof. And you never know what you're going to find when you get these apart. You need a tamper resistant T10, 4 screws. And be careful when you're taking these off and putting them back on, because the studs on the lids will snap. Or strip out. Usually when you have a single flash, it means that 1 or 2 banks is in the low dropout or below charging threshold, and you need to rebalance the pack if at all possible. And this one I might need to clean a little bit to get a good contact, because some of these bus bars that run across here are dirty. I always start with the positive modes, which is positive terminal right here, so this is going to be the positive most. Got 4.1. Alright, so bank 2 is low. Bank 3 is fine. Bank 4 is low. Alright, so just 2 and 4 need to be boosted off. Need to be revived, and I've seen worse. Next thing you want to do is see if they're open or closed. Do they have, that one's got high resistance on the cell. That one does. That one does. That one does. Come on. Yeah, the diodes might not let me read it. Usually you'll get a open or high resistance to the cell. Normally a sign of, is it going to let you charge or not, and you got to be careful when you're topping these back off. And we'll get to that in a minute. First, what I want to do is clean these. Blast my phone. Just use caution for the most part. Just never let the pack rest on a metal surface. Keep it insulated some as best you can. And I'll take and blast it out with air here in a bit. need to clean these anyways to get the leads to get a good contact on it when charging. Set this aside and wash that later. Let's get this other one apart and see what it's doing. Stuck on there. You always want to be careful too, because these studs will rip out of there if you ain't cautious. There it goes. Yeah, these little studs here like to break off, usually if they get dropped just right. Didn't see any signs of where the pack's drained out. This one's in quite a bit better shape. Probably didn't get as much water damage. Alright, let's see which ones are low on this one. One is good, 2 is good, 3 is good, 4 is good, 5 is low. All right. See if I can get these to charge. Pardon me while I fight with the test leads to get them where I want them. Case is all cleaned up. Yeah, there. All the crud, everything cleaned out of it. They usually clean up pretty good. But I prefer to use them to hold the leads in against the cells to get them to charge, or at least hope to charge them. You just have your positive and negative, and when you're looking at them, positive, positive, because they're all in series. And if you notice when you got a good contact, even if you don't, I like to tighten it up with a test lead. Make sure it's got really good positive contact on it. Take a charge, and you want to start off with a voltage usually around 3.8, 3.5. I'm going to go with 3.5 on the voltage. 2 amps. You don't want to go crazy. You want to see if it takes a charge, and you got to listen and look to see what kind of load it's taking. You want to Looks like it's taking a charge. And if it gets above about 3.5, you're usually pretty good to go. Let it charge for a bit. And you just gotta watch it increase. You'll see it start to slow down. And usually you can bump the current up at that point because it's only giving it about 5.6 watts at this point. And granted, not everybody has a BK Precision programmable power supply at home. But you can buy some cheap ones off of Amazon that'll do the same thing. And we're going to wait to see if it gets to 3. And then I shut it off to see if it's holding the charge or if it just instantly drains back out like it's taking a surface charge per se. And that lets you know if the cell will take a full charge or not, or if you're just wasting your time. And it looks like it's taking a charge. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 0.1 on. And then you just let it build up. You don't want to give it any more than about 4.1. Generally what you want to do is you measure the highest cell pack, or not really cell, the highest number in the cells, you know, of the 5 you measure, the 5 buses. You want to measure to see what the highest one is, and then you want to bring them all up to balance the entire pack, to bring them all up to say 4 volts, 3.8, 4.1, whatever it is. And then you put it on the charger, and the charging base will reset the pack, because right now it's in low dropout lockout at this point because it detected a short, and the battery management unit, which is this board, did its job and disconnected power so that it didn't over discharge the remaining cells and save the rest of the pack. Granted, it's unfortunate that the Milwaukee charger won't rebalance the pack on its own because it still charges them in a series, and that's one reason you don't want to charge these up in series just by, you know, hammering the pack with 20 volts, is because if you've got, you know, some that are topped out already and you got some that are low, it's going to be applying that voltage across all of them, and you will overcharge the ones that are already topped out. They can explode, leak, pop. That's why it's best to take the cover off, see which ones are low, charge them up from there. But it looks like this is taking a charge, and this process can take hours sometimes to get them to charge up. I'm gonna stop with this one and then see if the other is going to take a charge as well, because this seems to be doing what it needs to. I believe it was 4, so negative here, positive here, negative here. You're not sure, you can take it off of there and look at the pack, and kind of just like a double A, you have your flat is your negative, and your dimpled or your nippled side Use your positive. Alright, let's see if this one takes the same. Turn it back down to 3.8 and turn it on. It looks like it's taking a charge. Usually you know right away if it doesn't take a charge because it'll just like instantly rise up to the set voltage and then the amps will just drop right down. That means it's just taking a surface charge. It's not actually taking any power in. You got to think of it like pouring water into a glass. If it's got a big hole in the bottom, it's sure your glass is going to fill up, but it's going to drain out quick. But if you don't have a hole in it, it'll take and hold the water in the glass. And this one seems like it's taking a charge too. Once it gets up to about 3 out of its low dropout range, it should. I'll see if it stays stable. And if that's the case, then I can top off the pack and move on to the next one. Looks like it's holding. Alright, so this one should be recoverable. Just turn the power off to it. See if this other pack will take some pixies. So in this corner here, you always stuck the lead in there. Turn the current back down. See if this one will reset on the charger. Nope, not yet. The sales are probably still too low. Usually you gotta get them to like 3.5 before it'll reset them. Looks like these are gonna be alright too. Yep, it's holding the charge. I guess I'll stop it here, and because no need in spending an hour watching this thing climb up slowly. So I'll return when they're topped off and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all said and done. Alright, looks like this one is about topped off. And what you'll see is the current will start to slowly taper off from 3.5, and it's already been dropping down quite a bit. About 50 minutes has elapsed, just to give you an idea how long it takes to boost these back up safely. Not like some of them guys you see hooking it to a car battery. And then I can turn it off here shortly. Yeah, and 3.9. It might reset on the charger now. There we go. Should be good to go now. When you're putting these back in, try to use the old threads, because if not, eventually they'll strip out. And you just kind of got to feel for it. If you start the screw and it's too tight, you just kind of back it out, give it an extra half a turn, and then you're good to go, like there. Because it is plastic, and the plastic will eventually wear out. And you'll just strip it out, and then you'll be SOL. Because Milwaukee doesn't sell the cases. I wish they did, because you get a lot of them that just get dropped and got a pack with a bag corner on it, and it ain't no good. Alright, let me get back to this one and see if it's still got a 2.5, 7. Alright, 7. And then I'll just slowly top this one off too. If you want to see exactly how I've got them in there, they're just pressure fit in there. To where the side of the case insulates it and holds it in there. So we got one down and another one working on topping it off. That's loud. We'll return when this one's topped off, and we'll reset it on the charger. Just a quick update here. Bank 4 is almost topped off now. The current's dropped down from 3.5 to 2.70. You can see it's gradually falling as it requires less and less current to top off those cells. Nominal charge is 3.7, 3.8, and max charge is 4.2, but I normally don't push more than 4.1 when charging, because you're going to have a voltage drop whenever it, of course, loses the top surface charge. And that's where you get, when you add it all together, you get 18 volts nominal, but actually the full charge is 20.5 is normally what I see for the full 4 bars on the fuel gauge, and then the battery is topped off, and that's normally what you see whenever you get them fresh off the charger. This one, 3.875 when you take the charge off of it. So whenever it gets down to below 1 amp is when it's about all I'm going to try and push onto it. And then we'll be working on bank 2. Alright, bank 4 looks like it's about as good as it's going to get at this point. Let's move it over to bank 2. Check. 7. Positive is a bit loose. Let's top this one off too. If you wanted to see what the total charge is, looking at about 19.2. Granted, this isn't the most accurate bench meter, but it was what we could buy at the time. Alright, as soon as this tops off, we'll continue again. I'm giving it 4.1 volts at 3.5 amps, and it took an hour and 30 minutes to charge up bank 4, so probably going to be at least an hour and a half to top off 2 as well. Alright, looks like this one's about topped off. Yeah, it's holding stable. It's really not dropping down anything drastic. We've got 20 volts, 0.2 for the total cell. Take it off and see if it'll reset on the charger, and we're good to go. Here we go. Just make sure you don't cross-thread these in there, and try to use the threads that were cut when it came out, and they usually just spin in there pretty easy. Sometimes they won't, but for the most part they usually fall in there pretty easily. Alright, that one's done. I get go through 10 or 15 of these on a month come through here, and that's been over the past couple of years, so seen all sorts of things come through here as far as these battery packs come. If I get one that's it's a bad cell, and I'll show you all how to go about safely replacing those. I say safely, but about the safest way to do it. I've worked on the battery management units. I've seen some that the resistors go bad on the LEDs, and it'll only show half bars or 3 bars, and it'll be a full pack, and it just confuses people and frustrates them. But until the next one comes in, that's it.